Here's Prescott, just throws it deep as far as his arm can take him. He caught it! Micah Parsons on the move. Micah Parsons is in! Welcome to the big show, Tony Pollard. Oh, going deep, it is intercepted.
But I'm not going to say a word, but I will say one thing right now.
Prescott, touchdown. Good protection, and the pass wide open. Touchdown, Lamb.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. It's Space Cowboy here with another video for you guys here today. And we got to touch up on the Zack Martin situation as we stand currently with how training camps progressed, what the Cowboys have been doing in the intermediate, but also what has been said, and really, is there a sense of urgency for the Cowboys to get this deal done? So we're going to go through all that in today's video. Now, before we get started, if you guys can hit the like button to show support for the channel as well as fight against the YouTube algorithm, that'd be great. Next, subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell as well. So look, we know when this situation started between Zack Martin and the Cowboys, his representation goes to the media and basically says, hey, listen, Zack Martin doesn't feel happy with where he's at with his current contract. He feels like he's underpaid, considering the fact that you look at how much he's making, and while the Cowboys signed him back in 2018, that's the main thing, is when you sign these long-term deals, 6 years, 5 years, 7-year deals with the Cowboys, you're bound to be underpaid at some point or another. Now, the thing is with Zack Martin's contract, he does have 2 years remaining on this contract. It expires at the tail end of the 2024 season. Now, what I think is important here is that the Dallas Cowboys just need to give him more guaranteed money. But I think what's really imperative, and this is just how I'm looking at it, when you look at the details for Zack Martin's contract, next year he has a $24 million cap hit. And you have 2 years remaining on this contract. Now, I think that there is a sense of reluctance from the Dallas Cowboys to give him a new deal. And I think there's a couple factors involved here. And I think the first major question the Cowboys are asking themselves is how much longer can Zack Martin continue to be Zack Martin? And I think that's a valid question to ask. He's going to be 34 by the end of the 2023 season, all right? And you have to consider how much longer are you going to extend this guy? How much guaranteed money are you going to give him? Is there going to be an out in the contract? There's a lot of variables there. And so you had to factor in a couple other guys that the Cowboys have dealt with. Tyron Smith is a prime example of this. I vividly remember the conversations that we were having years ago. Oh, Tyron, Zach, and Travis are going to be the staple of the Cowboys offensive line. It's going to be elite for 10 plus years. We don't got to worry about the offensive line at all. And I think that really clouded the Cowboys' judgment because you had Travis retire early. Tyron has developed into an injury bug, basically, where every single year he can't stay freaking healthy. And Zack Martin has been just chugging along, and the mileage does get to you. Now, unless Zack Martin is this anomaly, like a Larry Allen, for example, where he can just keep doing his thing, and even if he gets a little bit, worse because of regression, he's still an all-pro guard and goes until like 38, no issues whatsoever. That's great and all. But let's use that 38 years of age metric for this situation. So if the Cowboys were looking to extend him and try to stretch out a cap hit, because for those that don't know, next year he has a $24 million cap hit, I would imagine the Cowboys offer him like a 4-year, possibly 3-year extension, and they just load it with guarantees. And the benefit to doing that is you have this year, the next year, and then you would have the 3 years added on to that to play with the money. Similar to how they did things with the Trevon Diggs extension. And that's typically how the Cowboys should be doing business, because then you can stretch that cap hit out. Zack Martin's happy he's getting his money, and everyone just moves on with their lives, basically. And when Jerry Jones spoke with the media, he kind of showed the Cowboys organization's intent on how they're handling the Zack Martin situation. He talked about how they have to save money for Micah Parsons. They also feel like there's consequences to what he's doing. And, I mean, the big thing is yeah, you need to save up money for the Micah Parsons contract that's upcoming. And by the way, you can pay Micah Parsons after the end of the 2023 season. He becomes extension eligible in 2024. And I think that's one factor, and I agree, you got to pay your young dudes. But again, it really comes down to the fact of the matter being, in my eyes, they don't want to be in a situation where it's a Tyron Smith, Zack Martin starts to break down, and you're stuck with this big-ass contract, and you can't do anything, right? And again, I'm just pointing that out. I don't agree with it in a certain sense, where I do believe Zack Martin is underpaid. I think he's been the best guard in football since he's entered the league. Quentin Nelson's probably the only dude that's given him a run for his money, and there's dudes that are way higher paid than he is, and he's just sat along and gotten his extension. Now again, if Zack Martin was really looking at it in totality, he might not have wanted to agree to a 6-year extension in 2018, but that's just what happens, right? You look at guys that have agents. I'm going to just use Dak as an example because Todd France is a huge example of an agent that is going to try and put his player that he's representing in the best position to get more money as it comes down the road. And keep in mind, we're going to see a cap explosion because of that new money that's coming in from the TV deals. So I don't want it to make it seem like the Cowboys can't pay everybody, because that's a lie. Because if the Cowboys structure the money correctly, they can pay everybody. And that's not me just saying it to make everything seem okay. It's just factual. Like, if the Cowboys were to pay Zack Martin and extend him in a certain light and give him the money he wants, they can do it in a way to where the cap hit is not as bad. And then probably by the time that he gets up there in age, like 36, 37, he might retire or whatever the case may be. I don't know if he's one of those dudes where if they do reach the ultimate goal, he would retire at the end of it. I wouldn't blame him. But look, I think that Zack Martin deserves to get paid. He's a guy that I think has put himself in a position where he has been so consistent that he has the right to hold out, and he can do that. That's his decision. Now, what have the Cowboys been doing in the meantime? They've been trying Matt Farniok at right guard, Josh Ball at right guard, also TJ Bass, a name that you should be familiar with moving forward if you haven't heard him already. They're throwing guys out there to just get a sense of what they got. And I think that's important because you don't know if someone can get hurt. And it gives us a chance to see, like, okay, is Josh Ball really the guy? Can we see if we can get something out of this dude? Is Matt Farniok going to be valuable at that position? Like, there's a ton of shit that's going into it, just calling it what it is. But it's going to come down to how the Cowboys are looking. Because keep in mind, they have to also think about paying Tyler Biotish. They got to think about paying Terrence Steele. And I think that if they get those deals done, they can really just be like, okay, now we can give Zach his money. But keep in mind, Zack Martin's contract does not expire at the end of this year. It expires at the end of next year. And I think it's, regardless of how you view about Zack Martin and this contract holdout, I would say going into this season, you wanted to get an extension done with some of these dudes because they're going to have a big cap hit and you keep touching their contract, right? To where, like, you're putting yourself in that spot. Like with Dak Prescott, you got a $54 million cap hit next year, and regardless if you like Dak Prescott or not, you're going to have to give him some form of an extension because you're not going to be able to do what you feel you want to do as an organization. I think that's why the Cowboys did it the way they did. So, again, if things go their way, I do believe Zack Martin will get paid sometime before the season starts. I don't know, because I kind of compared it to a Travis Frederick situation where Travis wanted to get a new contract, and he was kind of, wishy-washy on what he wanted to do and hold out. But then the Cowboys gave him his money before the first preseason game. I think it was in 2016 they gave him the extension. So I really do like what the Cowboys have done to this point in terms of trying to manage these contracts, but, you know, they did a really good job in keeping the Trayvon Diggs stuff quiet, and Zack Martin, it's not like they were trying to do all this stuff, but I don't like how they're trying to put it back into the media's hands, but I digress. Tell me what you guys think down below. Do you think Zack Martin should get paid? I think he should. And tell me what you guys think the Cowboys should do. I think that they should offer him a 3 to 4 year extension, give him the guaranteed money he wants, use the leverage of the contract to move the money around, and just call it a day there. With that being said, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great one.